Miss Anna Mitchell-Hedges, newly arrived from Toronto, Canada. With her in her green bag, she has brought one of the greatest jewels in the world. A headache for the security men and $500,000 worth of mystery. In London, the tangled story of her sinister treasure may at last be unraveled. She found it herself in a lost city when she was a girl.
My father was excavating in Central America, in British Honduras, and we found an old ruin of Maya who he thought had something to do with Atlantis. And we excavated for about 7 years, clearing the ground, and then one day we spotted something shining through the stones, and that was my 17th birthday. So we were full of happiness and joy. I'm bringing it to London because I want the British Museum to have a test at it and to find out more of its history if we can.
Burlington Gardens near Piccadilly Circus. Few of the works of art brought here for analysis at the Museum of Mankind present a challenge as great and as frustrating to the experts as the one Anna Mitchell-Hedges unveils in the laboratories in the depths of the building. This is the weirdest gem in the world. The skull of doom. The circumstances of its discovery were bizarre. Its origin is unknown, and its powers, some say, are fatal.
The Maya people say it was used to will death or to heal. And like if an old medicine man or a witch doctor was getting too old to perform a ceremony, a young man was chosen, and both laid in front of the altar, and the high priest would perform a ceremony, and the old man, knowledge, would go into this young boy, and the old man would pass away peacefully, but this young boy would get up as a very knowledgeable young man. This crystal skull here has tremendous power, but it also gives you a warning that something's going to happen.
To Anna's father, the crystal skull was the strangest trophy in a lifetime of adventure. Mike Mitchell-Hedges, explorer and celebrity of the 20s, was a man who'd take on a crocodile before breakfast and before donning his trousers. Primitive tribes offered him their choicest brides and hailed him as a god. And using only a rod and line, he reeled in some of the great and monstrous creatures of the oceans. In 1924, in British Honduras, he found his buried city, Lubantun. Mitchell-Hedges believed it was part of the lost Atlantis. With the local people, the Maya, he cleared the jungle from Lubantun's pyramids and platforms. On the last of these expeditions, he brought Anna, his adopted daughter, to the city. It was on her 17th birthday that they first glimpsed the crystal skull amidst the fallen stones.
For days we kept seeing something shining through the stones where the sun was giving. And of course we were anxious to get to that one spot. I went to pick it up because I had smaller hands than the other people did. And I picked it up and showed it to my father. And he just couldn't believe that we found this beautiful crystal skull. As you see, it's got all the little lumps that you have on your own head. And if you look deep down in the eyes, you'll see sockets down in the eyes. And the jaw moves like a human jaw.
Almost from the day of its discovery, this, the largest worked gemstone in the world, has been a mystery. Thomas Gann, who was there, and Lady Richmond Brown stayed silent. Mitchell-Hedges simply said, "It is the embodiment of all evil." But the question remains, was it really an ancient symbol of death that took generations to fashion, or could it have been modern? The only hint lies in an uncannily similar but less intricate skull in the care of the Museum of Mankind in London. It was bought from Tiffany's, the New York jewelers, in 1898, property, it was said, of a Mexican soldier of fortune.
This one isn't.
Rock crystal is impossible to date, but the Tiffany skull does bear a faint trace, which could betray the moment when a modern cutting tool accidentally slipped. The tests begin on the Mitchell-Hedges skull. It is weighed in water and in air. The result, it's genuinely pure quartz rock crystal.
Oh, that's very nice indeed. 2.65, which is just what it should be. That's absolutely grand.
There are no telltale scratches on this flawless surface to help top gem expert Alan Jobbins date the Skull of Doom.
We see no positive evidence on it that metal has been used. There's no positive evidence of that, but it may have been very skillfully concealed. It's a skillful, sophisticated job. If it's made by primitive people, it's absolutely amazing. Because the standard of workmanship is absolutely first class. It must have taken anybody who made this a very considerable length of time, even if he were using modern diamond tools and every modern device that was available to him.
The most likely source for quarrying such a large and immaculate block of crystal would be Brazil. But where and when it was worked are pure guesswork.
Whether it was worked in Honduras or Mexico, or whether it was worked in Europe or Japan or China, I wouldn't care to say. I just wouldn't. In terms of mystery concerning their origins, I think it's likely to remain a mystery for a very long time. I mean, the probability is that the material came from Brazil, and it came from Brazil probably post-1700, sometime like that.
But Alan Jobbins' theory is one with which Anna Mitchell-Hedges totally disagrees.
The skull was made long before that, about 3,600 years ago. This is what the Maya people told us. I lived 7 years with the Maya people as a child, and I lived and ate and slept the same way they slept on the earth. And once you live with people who are so down to nature, you got to believe them.